You're all familiar with this. The former Vice President Dick Cheney, a scathing review of the current Commander-in-Chief, President Obama, in a speech last week, saying that he's not being decisive. In fact, Mr. Cheney says he's dithering. Let's listen.
Having announced his Afghanistan strategy in March, President Obama now seems afraid to make a decision and unable to provide his commander on the ground with the troops he needs to complete the mission. The White House must stop dithering while America's armed forces are in danger.
Senator Hatch, you just said you thought it was time to make the decision. Do you go as far as the former Vice President? Is our Commander-in-Chief dithering?
Well, I would never want to call my president dithering, and I know it's a tough position that he's in, but why not follow the advice of all of his generals, and especially General McChrystal? He handpicked him, and McChrystal's one of the best there is. He and Petraeus set up, they're the masters of counterinsurgency. They need these troops, there's no question about it, and we're exposing our young men and women over there, a number of whom have been killed. I'm not blaming the president for that, but we're exposing them without the proper help that they've just got to have. And I think it's a mistake to continue to just not make this decision when you have the best people on the ground who are living with that problem every day, saying we got to have more people over here if we want a counterinsurgency that's going to work. And when you've had some progress, like in the Helmand River Valley, where they went in there. That was a huge Taliban stronghold. We went in there, did counterinsurgency. Today, the people are happy. They're raising crops. We're building roads. The Taliban are no longer there. And we could do that throughout that country if we would follow the advice of the generals who are right there on the ground, risking their lives and risking our young men and women's lives over there.
Senator Brown, Senator Hatch just put on the table the prospect that maybe the Commander-in-Chief is delaying this decision until after some very tough elections a week from Tuesday in this country. You believe there's any possibility of that?
I think that's outrageous to claim that the President of the United States, and I know Senator Hatch didn't exactly claim it. He said some others claim it, but pointed out nonetheless it's outrageous that any partisan, that partisans in this country would say the President of the United States is waiting on two governor's races in New Jersey and in Virginia to make a decision in Afghanistan. Look, to listen to Dick Cheney, who was the mastermind of the most failed decade of foreign policy that this country's had, at least in my political lifetime, perhaps my whole lifetime, perhaps my parents' lifetime too. I mean, to listen to him when he talked about dithering, when their mistake was to attack Iraq and lose sight of Afghanistan. His President Abdullah, his Dr. Abdullah, presidential candidate Abdullah said that 8 years of failure of Karzai implicitly is also 8 years of failure of dithering by that administration. So just take Dick Cheney's advice off the table. But one thing that's important, Secretary Gates, the Secretary of Defense, has gone to Slovenia to meet with defense ministers of NATO countries. We want to do this right. We should move deliberatively. We should move in a way that the President is doing by making this decision the right way. We want to line up our NATO allies, which we have not been able to do for most of this decade, before we make this decision. The President's doing it right. I think waiting till not the Virginia and New Jersey election, but waiting to the election in Kabul and in the Helmand province and in Kandahar is the right way to go.